stop me now, they won't stop me now, they won't stop me, no. They won't stop me now, they won't stop me now, they won't stop me, no.
Hello and welcome back to We Are Mighty. How have you been? How's the last couple of weeks treated you? Did you think about whether or not you are guilty of making grief resolutions? It's crazy when you think about it, isn't it? I'm sure we probably all have been guilty of it. One time or another, one way or another, not intentionally, but trying to say what we think is the right thing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that means you missed the last episode and you need to go back and check it out. It's pretty good. The grief resolution. Lots of people make it. So anyway, have you reflected on your grief journey lately? Have you thought about how far you've come? Have you thought about how difficult it may have started and how easy it's gotten? Have you thought about it at all? To be honest, I try not to think about it too much. It can bring me down just thinking about the fact that I'm on this journey. I really just try to live life. And when it comes time to record the podcast, just think about the things that have stuck out to me or the things that stick out over the journey that I think someone else may be dealing with as well. Something I've seen recently, and I've heard of it, and I kind of made a vow to not allow it to happen in my situation because it could have very, very easily happened, is the wedge that grief can drive in your relationship, especially in a loss similar to mine with losing my child, who was my husband's stepchild, and not saying that he didn't love him and that he didn't grieve, but in thinking not a contest, but thinking my grief is different from yours and you're not hurting like mine or like I am, and expecting you, my significant other, spouse, whatever, expecting them to hurt the way that I hurt and then getting angry when they don't. That causes a lot of problems for people who are grieving the loss of a loved one, because they don't understand the fact that grief is unique like a fingerprint. Even the person who's very, very close to that loved one that you lost, they still may not go through the cycle the way that you do. And I've seen situations where mothers who lose their child, they're going to be completely devastated anyway. And fathers will as well. But there's just something, I don't know how to explain it. Something about a mother's relationship. And what it does is when you are dealing with that grief, then it's really something different to the mother. That pain hits a little bit differently. You know, I'm sure you've heard they talk about how the child is growing in the mother's womb, so they're connected for 9 to 10 months with no one else around. They are physically connected. They are emotionally connected. Everything that mom feels, that baby's feeling. So when you lose your baby, because I still say I lost my baby, I think I probably put it into the best terms I could when I said, why didn't the world stop? my world stop. I expected everything else to stop, just like it happened for me because my child was gone. And so when you have someone that you're in a relationship with who's also experiencing that loss, but their world doesn't stop like yours, that can drive a wedge. You know, grief gives you a bit of paranoia where you may think that person, you didn't love my child the way I loved my child, even if it's their child as well. You didn't love him the way I did. You're not grieving like I did, like I am. And that's unfair. And that's where the arguments happen. That's where disagreements happen. And that's where misunderstandings happen. That opens the door for so many other things that can come between you and your relationship, because your focus is on the wrong thing. You're focusing on how that person is grieving, not the fact that they're grieving or what it is that they're going through as a result of their grief, and expecting it to be the same as yours. And I'm here to tell you that's just not possible. Yes, you can both be deeply hurt. You both can be in a state of depression, but even your state of depression won't be the same. We have to stop expecting others to feel what we feel, even in the same situation. You know, I'm dealing with court right now over the loss of my son, and there's things that right now I'm not having to deal with because I'm not at trial yet. It's just a bunch of status hearings after status hearings. But I know someone else who lost her son, and she literally dealt with these status hearings for 9 years and finally has come to the point of a trial. And in the trial, she's had to see some things. She's had to relive some things. And it's difficult for her. And I know, unfortunately, another mother who lost their child who was telling her, you know, don't do this and don't watch this or listen, don't show up on this day. But it's difficult to say that because you don't know what that mom wants to experience or how involved she wants to be. Me, I want to know everything. I want to hear everything. I want to see everything. And it may be difficult, but I feel like I owe that to my son, to be there, to be present every moment that I can. And that's what I've been doing with all these status hearings where I literally sit for 90 minutes to 2 hours just for them to go up and say, oh, we need more time, and set another court date 2 to 4 weeks out. But I'm still there, and I'm still back there in the 2 to 4 weeks in the next date for that person who did this to my child to see my face every time he comes into that courtroom. Do I expect everybody to feel that way? No. Do I expect everybody to take that approach? No. That's just my way of doing it, and the way that I'm committed to doing it. Will it change along the way? I don't know. It might. I doubt it. But if it does, that's my right. I have to deal with it how I have to deal with it. And so I try not to tell others how to deal with it. I may tell, what you can expect or something that may happen. You may feel this, you may see this, you may hear this may trigger you, but I can't tell you exactly what it's going to be for you. And I can't tell someone that I love or someone that I'm in a relationship with or just someone that I'm close to that they should feel a certain way when we have a loss in common, because I can't even say it's the same loss. But when we have a loss in common meaning losing the same person, it's not right for me to tell you should be feeling the way that I feel because we both lost this person. And I remember being so upset with my husband for going to work because I didn't want to move from the same spot on the couch every day. First of all, how would we have sustained if that happened? If I'm sitting on the couch and he's sitting on the couch next to me, who's paying the bills? Who's taking care of the household? It's unrealistic. And no, I'm not saying if you're grieving, you can only do it for so long. You got to go do what you have to take care of your bills. I'm not saying that either. All I'm saying is you have to be careful of the expectations that you put on others who are grieving, because it can drive a wedge. If I literally acted on my feelings of telling my husband, you didn't love our son the way that I loved our son because you're not grieving the way that I'm grieving, do you know what kind of an argument that could have caused, or how that could have hurt him? Like, that's inconsiderate, honestly. I kept those feelings to myself, but I definitely had them for a little while and had to take a minute and take a step back and think about it. Like, wait a minute, that's unfair to expect him to feel exactly what I felt, because yes, I am his mother. I did go through those 9 months of having him in my womb, of him developing. I did go through the quick, painless 2-hour labor. I always say it's like he came into this world effortlessly, and just as quickly he was gone. But I can't expect anyone else to have that feeling. Even his biological father. I worry sometimes that he may think that I'm not grieving because he's taking it harder than I am lately. And so it could be that he thinks, oh, she's not even grieving. I just deal with it differently. I have to. I can't, for lack of a better term, sound like a broken record, let it consume me. Yeah, I go through the roller coaster trying to move forward and feel like I'm wrong for enjoying life. Yeah, I go through the days where I'm just completely depressed. But that's my journey. And I still have to keep my journey from causing a split with someone else who's going through that journey, simply because I feel they should be going through it a certain way. So it's just something that has been in the forefront of my mind lately, because I'm seeing things like I can't go bowling. Now, my oldest son, he can still go bowling, and he wasn't with us that night. He wasn't out with us that night. But I have found myself getting angry with him for going bowling with family members or going bowling with friends, because that's the last thing I did with Miles. I can't expect him to not do something because it's hard for me. It's hard for me. And I know that if I were to say to my son, how dare you go bowling? Don't you understand that's the last thing that I did with your brother? That would cause an issue. And that would be hard for him. And it probably would hurt him that I'm making it like he's making light of what, the last things we did. Now, for him, there's a certain restaurant he can't go to because that was the last place he went with his brother. I could probably still go to that restaurant because I didn't have that experience. So we have to be considerate of others' feelings, considerate of others' journeys, and just considerate of what others are going through. It may not even be the grief journey. It could be anything. It may not be the grief journey of that loss. It could be some other type of loss that makes them not able to move forward with something. And for you, you'd be fine to do it. So you can't be, oh, it's okay. How can you not? Just we can go over here. And of course, I never realized that until I had to deal with this particular loss. Grief has a way of putting certain things into perspective for you that you never thought about before. And it makes you look at other losses in a different light. Yeah, I know you lost that job, but so you don't work for Pepsi anymore. You can't drink Pepsi. For some people, that could be true. Now, prior to me going through this loss, I probably would have been ever like, please, you better drink this Pepsi. But now things are heightened. And here we are, 2.5 years later, and it's still certain things just affect me differently because of having lost a loved one. My brother is a professional fighter. He's been a professional fighter for years. I have always been the mouthpiece. When he had a fight coming up for at least a month, I'd be on social media. I would post, I would share things, I would talk crazy stuff. I literally can't do it anymore. I will watch his fights, but the state of paranoia that I'm in now is so much worse than it used to be that I literally say to myself, what the hell is wrong with you? You know what he practiced for? You know what he's trained for? He's been doing this for how long? But still, he just had a championship fight a week ago. And I was so excited about the fight, but I didn't know if I wanted to watch it. And I know that I can't not support him in that way. I've never missed a fight. But it literally was the last minute when I finally decided to tune in. And when I say the last minute, he was actually in the ring in his first round. I'm glad I watched it. Of course, he won his championship and everything. But still, even through the fight, I couldn't sit still. I was jittery. I was fidgety. Usually I'm with him and, I'm leaning and moving with him because, truth be told, I was one of his first boxing coaches. So I used to work the corner. Yes, the first time he got hit, I did scream and tell my husband at the time to throw in the towel and stop the fight. He wasn't hurt. He just got hit. I wasn't ready. I thought I was. Hey, what can I say? But over the years, I got used to it. So watching him fight, I would send him text messages. I might watch his opponent, send him tips. Make sure you watch for this. Watch his right hand. He'll drop it. Those kinds of things. Now it's like taking everything in me to just be present enough to watch the fight on a screen. Because he's been fighting out of the country. So it's not, like one that I can pull up to. And when I can, I'm there. But even then, I can't sit still. I can't eat before his fights. I never could, but now it's even worse. Like my stomach is just in knots. And I know that it's since I lost my son, because now, because of the grief, it has me to the point where you realize things that you thought could never happen could possibly happen. And so every fear of what could go wrong during a fight pops in my head. And that's horrible. It's horrible to even think of those things. I blame grief. So you never know what someone is dealing with as a result of the grief. So show some grace. Even to the ones who are right there with you. Show them some grace. Because their journey is not going to be the same as yours. I remember I got upset with my mom because she went to a birthday party for a young man that she cares about. She's close with his mom. And the lady said something to my mom about, I couldn't believe you came knowing, the last things that Miles did with family. And my mom hadn't thought about it. And she was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about it. But I don't expect her to think like I did, because she wasn't with us that night either. So I think that's kind of a lot for me to expect nobody in my family to want to go bowling, because my family, my, I guess, immediate family went bowling. And that was the last thing we did with my son before he was taken from us. When it really should be, how wonderful is it? How wonderful is it that the last thing he got to do with us was to have a night of fun. And it's so weird if I look back and think about him saying, we're supposed to be making family memories. And that's what he said. My brother was in town. That's the reason he wanted to go bowling. Let's make some family memories. And we did. Is it crazy that that was the last memory we have together? Absolutely. But I can't expect anyone that's close to me not to want to be involved in that activity anymore. Now, people are definitely respectful of, usually if there's something that happens where there's bowling involved, they may not invite me or may say, hey, we're doing this, but I know this is difficult for you, so, I don't expect. I've tried to go to events that are at rooftop venues in the area that's not far from the rooftop where my son was killed. Depending on the spot, I may be able to do it. I may not. And a lot of times I'm told the fact that you even tried means a lot. I don't know if I'll ever overcome that. I don't know if I will ever go bowling again. But I at least try. Because I feel like that's another way of letting grief have control over me, is not doing things because of going through the journey. But, there's one party that I went to that was a rooftop, and I literally was facing the building where my son died. And that I think I lasted maybe 10 minutes. Now, if it was on the other side of the building, I probably would have been okay. I think. I really can't say. But it was some people who we really admired, and they were leaving, and they were having a going away party. And so we wanted to at least drop off a card and, give them well wishes. We got to do that. And then I had to leave. It's baby steps. And no, I wasn't upset with my husband that he was able to be there. And he did say that he felt, a type of way. But again, I can't expect him to feel the way that I felt. Like, I literally had to leave because I was in tears. He's trying to be strong for me. All of it is an adjustment. And it's crazy that you still may not realize until years later, months later, decades later, that certain things trigger you still as a result of a loss. But don't let it separate you from those who love you. Don't let it drive a wedge between you. Don't let it make you feel like they don't love you or love your loved one. simply because their journey is different. I look at people and I wonder sometimes how they're able to do things. And people say the same about me. I don't know how you're able to do what you do day by day. I don't know how you're able to be so encouraging to people, how you're able to stand strong. Doesn't mean on the inside I'm not screaming or I'm not actually encouraging myself just like I'm encouraging someone else, saying, okay, we got this, we got this, we got this. We can do this. We can make it past this. We're going to be okay. Because most times I am. And that's the difference. That's just how my journey goes. You don't know what a person has going on in their mind. You don't know what a person deals with when they get home, or even in the process of leaving home to get to wherever they are. There could be a trigger. All of it is a part of this journey that we have no control of, that we can't predict. So how dare us place unfair expectations on someone else? I just want you to think about that, because I just read somewhere that grief can definitely cause... I read that grief could cause you to fall out of love with someone, and I disagree with that. I feel like it can cause you to have a falling out with someone. I believe it can cause, drive a wedge, like I said. But I just don't understand how, if you truly love someone, that the grieving process will take that away. It can cause psychological issues. It can cause mental health issues. It can cause all kinds of issues between you. And maybe that's what it means by falling out of love, that you're not feeling the same that you used to. I'm not going to let grief cause me to fall out of love with anyone or to stop loving anyone that's close to me. That's one thing I'm not going to do. I'm not going to allow it to drive a wedge. I'm not going to allow it to make me hold a grudge because they're doing something that I maybe wouldn't do. And who knows? Like I said, I may do it eventually. I can't put a time limit on theirs, just like they can't put a time limit on mine. So be careful that you're not causing that grief wedge to be driven between you and a loved one. Or even be careful that a loved one isn't causing it to be wedged between the two of you. Call it out. Let them know, hey, what you're doing can drive a wedge between us, and we don't want to do that. If you truly care about that person, let them know how you feel. Because you never know. They may not even realize what they're actually doing. So don't even let it grow into a separation. Stop it. Nip it in the bud. Don't be one of those statistics, I can say it, of the people who have allowed grief to cause separation, to end a relationship that was so important to them. Let's drive that number down. Grief is crazy, unpredictable, unorthodox. So we have to be the same way. Be crazy and turning that thing around. Be unorthodox enough that when they say something that pisses you off, that you stop and say, hey, hold on. I get what you're going through. I'm going through as well. It's just a little bit different. And that's not wrong. Hopefully, They'll take what you're saying into consideration. And if they're grieving, honestly, they might, because we know grief heightens your emotions. And if they're not, then at least you said your piece. So they know the reason if that wedge gets driven between you. That's just my 2 cents, I guess. I hope it helps. We're here every other Friday, everywhere you listen to podcasts, and you can watch us on Spotify and YouTube. You can email me at wearemighty24@gmail.com if you'd like to be a guest or if there's something you'd like for me to talk about. Remember, in everything you do, be true to yourself, be strong, and be mighty. We'll see you next time.
They won't stop me now, they won't stop me now, they won't stop me, no. They won't stop me now, they won't stop me now, they won't stop me, no.